Namato Ratana Tayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Gem, the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello everyone. Good evening. This is Ajahn Sujan from Warapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. So today is Thursday the 30th, 2020. As usual, on time, I'm here with you all at 6:30 to share and also to be with you during this isolation time, just to give you some reflections and as well as guide you to find time to meditate and find yourself. Hi everyone. Hi Corinna, Colin, Margaret, David, Take Bahadur. So hi everyone. I hope that so far it's good, and today again I am here outside of the center, just to give you beautiful weather, beautiful time, and you can hear birds singing. Birds are singing, and since the lockdown you can hear plenty of birds singing and different varieties and different types. I thought today's weather not that cold, but it appears still cold, so let me wear my hat. Much better now. Okay, so right, before I go ahead on with what's the topics or whatever will come. Hi Prani, Tani Sapaidina. I would like to read some of the reflection that came through, and I hope that you don't mind me reading these feedbacks and sharing with you all other members as well. Okay, this particular one came from Australia. Says she had visited the center once, I think it was last year, and she says she's following this program every day. She writes, "Good evening Achan, every day I am practicing your meditation guided every evening. One of my friend not feeling well because of stress. Then I asked her to follow your meditation guidance and reflection talks. So this is how we can share and help one another at this time." Meanwhile, there is another reflection came. That's like a good afternoon. I have been starting to listen you, and it makes me feel happy. I'm very glad to hear that some of these talks and meditation is helping. Could you also speak about deep listening, please, as this is very important during this time where people feel depressed and lonely and need someone to listen to ease off their inner discomfort due to present situation. You have brought this very, very wonderful topic, that this is deep listening. In a way, we are not good at listening, and particularly if that is related to the deep listening, then that's really, really difficult. We always want to show, or we always want to give our views and our opinions, and we wish them to follow as we think is the right. So that's how we always in a position fixing man or fixing person to any problem or anyone else. So to find the one who is willing to listen is difficult. So you can be a good friend, so you can just listen, be there. There is a saying that listening is one of the greatest help that one could give to a person who is not feeling well mentally. So you don't have to give anything, you don't have to present anything. Simply listening attentively will help them immensely. As a monk, I listen a lot, and sometimes I am on mobile phone almost all day, listening to this person, that person, and listening so many stories. But one thing we have to remember, that as a listener we have to know when to stop and how to throw it away. As one of my evening talks, I mentioned that we have to keep our mind like bottomless dustbin, so we able to let it go. So and there again, there is another one from Margaret. She said, "Hello Achan, thank you very much for your inspiring reflections and meditation. I practice meditation several times a day for a short period of time. Thank you and keep safe." So short period of a time. This is very, very important, as I've been telling and encouraging everyone to be mindful in day-to-day life. It doesn't matter what you are doing, and whenever you are able to be mindful, then that's good enough. And as you develop that, and gradually you will get more and more into the practice and understanding that. So that's really, really encouraging. And there is another reflection came from Colin, that saying, "Good morning," and this is very early morning. He texted me. "Good morning, Achan Suchan. I enjoy watching your teachings every evening. As you know, I share your video to my family and friends all over the world. My friends always kept asking about Buddhism, and they had a misconception about Buddhism, comparing to their own religion or beliefs. I always say to them, you can speak to the monks about any subjects, and they will listen and understand your point of life, and you can have a laugh with them also. You can disagree with the monks. Yes, anyone can come and talk to me and ask any things with the monks. Monks are also normal human too. We are just simply little different way of life, but we still have a sense of humor. Okay, don't be afraid. We won't bite." And I say to them, he further writes, and I say to them, they can help you through understanding suffering with the help of loving kindness and compassion. They ask me about you. Now they have a picture of you and hear your reflections, and the likes I get back are positive. Keep smiling. Cheers. So, Colin, you been a good friend to your friends in this crisis, and thank you for sharing these good knowledge and good guides for everyone to find the answers in this time. And there is one more that is about the vegetarian. Now, the vegetarian topic is quite complicated in a way, and also dispute. I remember when I came to UK about 15 years ago, and when I come, so I will elaborate on vegetarian tonight. There is a misconception that as a monk, yes, Sarala, we do provide free counseling. Yes, we do provide free counseling as well. We call it the spiritual counseling to people. So yeah, and this is our job. Okay, so in terms of a vegetarian, I think there is a big misunderstanding that once you become a Buddhist, or as a Buddhist you should be vegetarian because you're following 5 precepts, and one of the first precepts is not to kill, or not killing or harming any beings. And with this in mind, there is a misconception that once you become a Buddhist or Buddhist monk or a nun, you should be vegetarian. But this is not the case. Now, before we go on to the vegetarian, what we have to understand that food is simply a material things that material nutriment to sustain our body. Yeah, material nutriment to sustain our body. And this nutritious food is important to sustain our body. And now this food can be harsh, can be fluidity, and in different forms and different ways. One important thing what I would like to draw attention here, that mindful eating been introduced by the Buddha 2500 years ago, and that mindful eating simply Buddha introduced in order to keep people not indulge in eating food. And that if we are unmindful and eating, then what happens is it brings this so-called obesity and fattening. And now these days, in modern days, because we have plenty of food and we are indulging ourselves in order to appetite ourselves, or in order to just test as the advertise promotes, and plenty, so we normally pick it up and eat regardless of what time or when. And the problem is, when we eat, we are not mindful of it, but when we become a conscious is that when we feel like I am a little bit fat. And that's why there is a maybe multi-million business on how to lose weight and how to keep ourselves healthy, or healthy eating business. And that's simply because of not restraining our senses while we are eating. There was a story at the time of the Buddha that the king Pasendi, he was visiting the Buddha at the temple on that day, and when he came, he felt very uncomfortable in his stomach and feeling very sleepy and unable to think properly. Having seen that, Buddha told indirectly to the king that one should eat mindfully. That will help to sustain the body, but one who eats unmindfully, that causes the lifespan less than it should be. So basically what Buddha is saying here, that if our body uses more energy to digest our food, then that decreases our age, our age. So that's why after Buddha told him indirectly, ever since he appointed one assistant, the king Pasendi appointed one assistant to tell him before he eats the food. So this assistant will stand next to him on his table and will tell him, Their Majesty or Your Majesty, be mindful when you are eating. Yeah. So wish we could have such assistant in our day-to-day life. So we will become more mindful when we are eating, and with that there will be no obesity. As a monk, we have to reflect day and night whenever we are eating, and here not just the eating, but it's also four requisites, four basic needs that Buddhist monks are using. We reflect on that, particularly the food, that we are consuming it simply to maintain the body, not for the fattening, not for fun, or not to develop any muscles, and so and so. So that's why the food is simply a part of nutrition that one has to have it. The Buddha again didn't classify, like any other religion classify, pure food and impure food. Buddha simply classified the food. There is no such things is called impure or unclean food. But what Buddha encouraged us is simply eating in moderation with mindfulness. That's all. But for the monks, as a monastics, there are some restrictions of eating food, particularly about the meat. And that's again simply because for the safety reasons, and which again doesn't apply to Buddhist. And here saying so, we have to classify there are two types of Buddhists. One, monastics, and second is lay people or householders. So there are two different rules. And in terms of a vegetarian, again, I've been asked that as well for many times. And then about 2017-18, I wrote an article saying that Buddhist monks are not vegetarian nor non-vegetarian. Simply they are Platarians. Here Platarians means whatever is given, simply they will accept and consume it in order to maintain their physical body, so they can pursue this life for the good and purification. So as a Buddhist monk and a nuns are simply Platarians. Whatever comes in their bowls, they will eat that without classifying this or that, whether it is vegetarian or non-vegetarian. So there is no distinction in that at all. But what we also need to remember that during the time of the Buddha, again there was this debate came even time with the Buddha too. That was like Venerable Devadatta, Buddha's cousin. He approached to the Buddha and told the Buddha that as a monk, one should be vegetarian, shouldn't be eating food, meat at all. And then the Buddha simply denied that, saying, if you can be vegetarian, go ahead, but it cannot be the rule that everyone should follow. And that's simply on the basis of the theory that the monks and the nuns simply go out begging food for their daily need. And if a family who hasn't got anything apart from the meat or cooked food that's made of meat, then they should accept to maintain their faith and to allow them to have this great merit. So that's why there are two groups. One who willingly follow not to take any meat or being a vegetarian, and there is a group who would be moderate and live by with that. Having said that, as a monk, if there is any doubt that that animal been killed for him or has seen or has known, then he shouldn't consume that at all. That at all. So that is one. There is a criteria that a monk should be following that. But again, this is completely different to the lay people. And lay people also, sometimes there is a debate goes on saying that yes, you are not killing, but you are buying. So that's why you are indirectly killing. Yes, cannot deny there is a direct killing and indirect killing. But when it is a direct killing, then your intention is purely on there. But indirect killing, basically there is no intention to kill, but somebody has killed and already on a shop, and then you are eligible to buy and use it as a food. And there must be a question arise that, well, that is also killing. Mind you, that the vegetables that we have these days, maybe in the supermarkets, all the vegetables, those vegetables preserved by killing other insects too. Plenty of other insects that the farmer had killed simply to keep all the vegetables fresh. So indirectly, as being a vegetarian, you're also killing other animals too. Mind you, that's why it's not about you possessing whether you are a vegetarian or not. It's about your honesty. It's about your being kindness and compassionate, and also being thoughtful. Suppose if you are a vegetarian but you dishonest, you're not kind and mean to others, there is a bully going on, and there is a comparing that I am a vegetarian, you are not, you should be following the vegetarianism, like that. And then there is a person who eats meat or not vegetarian, but he is very kind, thoughtful to others, and then having a compassion, and then again more like not selfish. Then who do you vote for? So it's not about what you eat, it's about your state of the mind and how you behave. Venerable Buddhadasa, one of the famous writer and reformer, who was also recognized by the UNESCO as the one of the historical person in Thailand, he once said, "It is not what you eat. If you are eating with greed, whether you are eating vegetables or you are eating meat, then you are doing wrong. But if you are eating just to eat, simply to sustain your life, then that's fine." So it's not about what you eat, it's about mental state that you eat. Most importantly, again, we need to be mindful of it. But having said that, doesn't mean that this is a standard principles to define this is or that is. There are plenty of people who are vegetarian, practicing vegetarian, or even a vegan, which means not eating or anything that related to the meat. Then there are kind too. They are not mean as well. They're able to adjust with the different situation too. And to end with that, this vegetarian actually developed from Jainism, not from anybody else. And then if you are becoming a vegetarian, not related to any form of a religion, any form of a faith, simply for the health wise, or your become a health conscious and become a vegetarian, then that's fine. But again, you should not be holding on to that I am vegetarian, you are not. With that, you are again making yourself in different position. So you are making superior than someone else. In that case, you are holding your ego. Doesn't matter whether you are eating or not, you have already deceived yourself as the person who is eating it. So you're trying to be superior than someone else. If that's the case, then better not to be vegetarian. But nevertheless, if we are following and if we are practicing meditation properly, and gradually we will eat or consume any food, any types of food, just to sustain ourselves, not for the craving and eating. So that's the reflection for tonight in regards to the vegetarian. And if it may confuse you as well sometimes, and maybe different they make you feel uncomfortable, but in overall it is not the vegetarian that makes you liberate. It's what you eat, but it is your mental state of letting go, but becoming a moderate of your eating and reflection on your eating, whatever you're eating, with mindfulness. As you become a mindful eating, then you don't need too much to eat. As you eat, you're eating with full consciousness, and that will go into your body in every particles. But if you're eating mindlessly, then that creates obesity and other problems. So with this, I end tonight's talk. I hope you enjoy this talk, and we'll come back again tomorrow at 6:30. If you have any questions or anything that you would like me to speak or answer or discuss, you can post, and even you can ask me questions. So we'll try. So I just want you to engage with me, so then other members, those who are listening, they also can engage with us too. Okay, so with this, I would end for tonight. Let me see anyone is saying. Okay, Colin, people in Thailand, people in the cities of Thailand and people of villages eat different. Also, their Buddhist faith are different. Enjoy your teaching. Thank you. David, right intention. Yes, it is based on a right intention. Your intention is the most part. That's what Buddha says. Intention makes the karma, or the action, which brings the results. So it's up to us. How do we deal with that? Okay. So I think that's it for tonight. Actually, I tried to find out my article which I wrote, that Buddhist monks are Platarian rather than any Tarianism that we are introducing. So I will find out, and then we'll let you know later on, or maybe in a few days time. Okay. So with this, may you be happy, peaceful and successful. May you be safe and stay well and take care, and good night. So in few minutes time we will have evening chanting and as well as guided meditation. I encourage you to come and join with us. Okay, Lena gives me this talk at every meal. Okay, so you got the assistant like the king Pasendi Kosala had the assistant after Buddha gave instruction of mindful eating. Good. Okay, right. Thank you everyone, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow, or if you're not continuing for the chanting and guided meditation, we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, good night.